Good morning. Wrapping up this section of Philippians here, Philippians 4, verse 9, where he has been talking about peace. And here I think what we get is peace and action. We read, what you have learned and received and heard and seen in me. Remember, Paul set himself up as an example to be imitated. What you've learned, received, heard, and seen in me. Have you watched me, Paul says? Have you seen how I've handled discombobulation? Have you seen how I've handled anxiety? Have you seen how I've handled stress? Have you seen how I've handled disagreements? Okay, he says, practice these things. Praso. Practice these things. Do them. And the God of peace will be with you. So we have peace there as the bookend, right? It started off with the idea of handling disagreements in chapter 4, verse 2. Now we get to verse 9, and we kind of get this bookended sense of this whole thing's been governed by the idea of peace. It's concluding with peace coming from you, putting into practice the things he says here to the Philippians that you've seen in him. Well, we get to see a lot of Paul's character. We see it in what he writes. We know that he was able to keep his wits about him in all things, in different situations. He was able to help people in challenging dynamics. He was able to lean upon the Lord in difficult times. And we learn from him and other biblical examples of how we ought to conduct ourselves, and from people we observe and we watch who walk this out well. We've learned that we have to put some things into practice. We've got to actually do it. We can't just talk about it. So, I'll give you a phrase. It's what I want you to take away from this thought for the day. Our practice rehearses the presence of the God of peace. Our practice rehearses the presence of the God of peace. So, I say, okay, Lord, I'm going to pray. I'm going to lean into you. And then I really pray. Well, then I'm actually acting like God is present. I'm actually acting like the Lord is at hand. I ruminate about things that map onto his character. Now I'm actually practicing, right, the presence of the God who brings peace. So practicing the presence of the God who brings peace is that sort of final step where now I'm not just living in theory, but I'm bringing peace to bear upon my daily life. So we can talk a good game. We can talk about how you ought to pray. We can talk about how you ought to ruminate about good, godly things. We can talk about how you ought to be reasonable in difficult situations and gentle in your actions. We can talk about how you can be a peacemaker in regard to other people. Ultimately, our job, importantly, our job is to do what? To actually walk it all out. So, put in some concrete disciplines in your life so that you can act in peace in your own life and the lives of other people, and sort of get off the starting block. So begin disciplines of prayer. Begin disciplines of praying for other people to have peace in their life, and actively step into roles where you can be a peacemaker. Be somebody who really starts disciplining yourself daily for gratitude and thanksgiving and thoughts about good things and giving people the benefit of the doubt. But develop these disciplines so you can practice these things. And may the Lord bless you.